Now, because this is an advanced series, we have to ramp the difficulty up here just a little bit. So far, our examples have been trivial at best. So let's dive right into the deep end here. What we're going to do is we're going to play around with transforms. We're going to manipulate a matrix 4. Now, what a matrix 4 is imagine you have a picture in front of you, like a tablecloth, and you can manipulate the X, Y, and Z axis, meaning you can fold it, crumble it, twist it, turn it, whatever you want to do. So we're just going to play around with that. So let's go ahead and let's go in here. And this is going to be a bit of typing, and some of this may be a little confusing. I'll try to explain as I go. So we're going to make a double, and we're just going to make our X, Y, and Z axis. So we'll say double X, Y, and double Z. And we're going to init our state. Oops, double, so it's got to be a double. And let's make our Z here. So in our init state, we've made 0 changes to this. Now we're going to build our graphical interface here for the end user to make their changes. So we've got a center and a column, and in here we want new rows. So say new, and say children. Now we've got a slider, and we're just going to say our value is X, and we want the on changed. Now, because we're just simply going to set state, I'm not going to make 3 different functions. I think we're smart enough at this point we can figure this out. So let's actually do this. Double value, set state, and in our set state, we're just going to set that. Looks a bit messy, but it will work. Help if we spelled value correctly. There we go. Double fail. All right. Now we can go ahead and let's grab this row. And we're going to actually make 3 of these. We're going to set our Y, set our Z. All right, let's run this on the device. And you can see, oh, did we screw that up? We just didn't make the labels. That's what we did. All right, now that it is actually correct, we just simply have some sliders and we can set the X, Y, and Z. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with a transform. We're going to skew the Y axis, skew the X axis, and then play around with the rotation on the Z axis. Now transforms get a little tricky, especially because we're going to be nestling them. So bear with me, there may be some mistakes. Let's go ahead and we've got our end row here. Now we're going to make a new transform. In this transform, we have a transform. Kind of repetitive, but it's what it is. So we need to make a new matrix 4 transform. And we want a matrix 4, and we want to skew Y. So what does that do? Skew is kind of like if you take the edges, like you take top left and bottom, I'm sorry, top right and bottom left, and you kind of pull them, it stretches them out, like if you ever done that with a piece of paper or bubble gum or something. That's really what we're going to be doing here. So now we're just simply skewing that. What we want to do next is add a child of this. Help if we had the comma in there. There we go. There's our child, and we're going to make yet another transform. This is going to be a little bit more challenging. What we're going to do is basically the same thing, but it's nestled. We're going to say new matrix 4, and we can just say skew Y, but we're going to change this to X, and let's set this to X. Now we're going to nestle yet another child in here. This is why it gets a little confusing, because you're doing a transform and a transform and a transform. What we want to do for this one is we want to set a new transform. Let's see here. We've got our skew X, we've got our skew Y. So let's do a new transform. And the transform for this is going to be a new matrix 4. And we want it to rotate the Z axis. There we go. Now we're going to add one last child, and this is actually going to be what we want to rotate and play around with. So we're going to add a new padding. And inside that padding, let's do a new edge inset all, and let's pad this by 10. Why not? Add one last child. And we're just going to do a new text. Hello world. If that seems confusing, it's because it is. But basically what we're doing is we're doing a transform and a transform and a transform, and the final child is a padding, which has a child of a text. So what the transform is going to do, and I'm just going to restart this in the background here, is it's going to allow us to basically chain these together and work as one. So now we've got our interface and our text. We can actually rotate that along with skew it. Pretty awesome, huh?